What is up guys, it's Cal, and in this video we're going to be talking about some more BfA stuff. Now what are we going to be talking about exactly? Well, our artifacts will be carrying with us to the next expansion. Well, not really. Our artifact abilities will be carrying with us to the next expansion. Which, well, that's actually not completely true either. Some of our artifact abilities will be carrying with us to the next expansion, along with some legendary effects. First off, I want to talk about the stat and item level squish that you may have heard about. Now, stat squishes have happened in the past before to prevent people from having billions of health and to reduce numbers across the board. But this is the first time we're seeing an item level squish. So for example, an item level 1000 item, like our legendaries, will be item level 280 in the next expansion. 970 items will be 250, 940 items will be 220, and so on. So it seems like they're bringing the item levels down, but it's still moving in a linear path, like 970 is 30 less than 1000, 250 is 30 less than 280, 940 is 30 less than 970, 220 is 30 less than 250, so on and so forth. Now, if my calculations are correct, and the expansions don't go up exponentially in item level, then each expansion will end in intervals of 40 item levels. Like Vanilla ends at item level 40, Burning Crusade ends at item level 80, Wrath at 120, Cat at 160, Mist at 200, Wad at 240, and Legion at 280 since item level 1000 is the highest we can currently get, and Battle for Azeroth at 320. Quick maths. Well, I mean, actually with the whole old world scaling thing, Burning Crusade and Wrath would be grouped up and they would start at 40 and end at 120. Same kind of thing goes for the rest, you get what I'm saying. So now onto the legendaries and artifact abilities that will be following us into Battle for Azeroth. Havoc Demon Hunters. They have this ring. Anger of Half Giants. Your Demon's Bite generates an additional 1 to 14 Fury. It was probably the inspiration for a new Havoc Demon Hunter talent called Insatiable Hunger, where Demon's Bite generates up to 10 additional Fury. Then Vengeance Demon Hunters have an artifact ability called Fueled by Pain, where you have a chance to activate Metamorphosis for 5 seconds every time you consume a soul fragment. I'm just going off on a hunch here and say that it inspired the new Vengeance Demon Hunter talent called Gluttony. Consuming a soul fragment has a chance to activate Metamorphosis for 5 seconds. I don't know, just a feeling. Then another artifact trait called Fiery Demise increases fire damage you deal to the target by 10%, was buffed a bit and turned into the talent Charred Flesh, increases fire damage you deal to the target by 20%. Restoration Druids, their main artifact ability is Essence of Ganir, which increases the frequency your heal over time effects heal allies for 100% for 8 seconds, had its effect baked into the Flourish talent. Also the cooldown of Flourish was increased to 1.5 minutes due to the buff. Then Beastmaster Hunters have some boots. Qapla' Eredun War Order, it said something like that. These boots would reduce the cooldown of Kill Command by 3 seconds every time you use Dire Frenzy or Dire Beast. Well, the new Cobra Shot reduces the cooldown of Kill Command by 1 second every time you use it. There may be a connection there. Then Marksman Hunters with the Healing Shell trait, which has Aspect of the Turtle, heal you for 12% for each point into it over its duration. Marksman Hunters get a passive ability at level 75 called Natural Mending, which will heal you for an additional 20% of your health over 10 seconds when you use Exhilaration. So it's triggered by Exhilaration, not Turtle. I don't know, it may be a bit of a stretch. Speaking of a stretch, Arcane Mages, they have an artifact trait called Rule of Threes. You have a 33.3% chance to fire 3 additional arcane missiles. Well, they get a new talent called Mana Adept, where as long as you're above 80% mana, arcane missiles fire 2 additional times. So possibly inspired, but a bit of a stretch. Fire Mage's main artifact ability is Phoenix's Flames, which just hurls a giant fiery phoenix at the enemy that does a lot of splash damage and always crits. Well, they have a new talent called Phoenix Flames, which does the same thing. They just dropped the apostrophe S from the name, so I guess the flames no longer belong to the Phoenix. Anyways, Windwalker Monk's main artifact ability is Strike of the Windlord. Frontal AoE cone, where you use both of your fists and it reduces the target's movement speed by 50% for 6 seconds, possibly inspire the new talent for them called Fist of the White Tiger, which, well, doesn't really do the same thing. I mean, it strikes the target dealing damage and generates 3 chi. Possibly inspired, who knows. Then the artifact trait known as Tornado Kicks, which has Rising Sun Kick, strike a second time for 25% additional damage, possibly inspire the new and not so improved talent called Tornado Kicks, which does the exact same thing. Repelli's, your main artifact ability is called Wake of Ashes, which damages all enemies within 12 yards in front of you and reduces movement speed by 50% for 6 seconds, all while stunning any demons and undead in your way. Well, it's becoming a talent called Wake of Ashes, which pretty much does the same thing except it will now generate 5 holy power. Holy Priest's artifact trait called Cosmic Ripple, when Holy Word Serenity or Holy Word Sanctify finish their cooldown, you emit a burst of light that heals up to 5 injured targets it now directly is becoming a talent. Shadow Priest's main artifact ability, called Void Torrent, which channels void energy into the target over 4 seconds, and also Insanity does not drain as you're channeling, well, it's becoming a talent called, Void Torrent, which does the same thing, and the cooldown is being reduced by 15 seconds. Then they have a legendary ring called Twin's Painful Touch. Mind Flay cast after entering Void form will spread Shadow Word Pain and Vampiric Touch to 3 enemies in a 10-yard range, possibly inspires the new Shadow Priest talent called Dark Void. Void Interruption, apply Shadow Word Pain to all targets hit. Then the legendary belt, Mangaza's Madness, which gives Mind Blast an extra charge, is now turning into a talent called Shadow Word Void, which replaces Mind Blast and has 2 charges and does more damage. Assassination Rogue's legendary shoulders, Mantle of Master Assassin, which increases your crit by 100% while stealth is active, and for 5 seconds after you break stealth is turning into a new assassin talent called Master Assassin, except just nerfed a bit, while stealth, and for 3 seconds after increases your crit by 50%. Then the artifact trait, known as Bag of Tricks, and Venom and Rupture have a 2.5% chance per combat point spent to smash a vial of poison at the target's location, creating a pool that damages enemies. It's turning into a new talent called Poison Bomb, which does the same thing, except it's becoming 4% per talent point spent. Then Outlaw Rogue's Loaded Dice trait. When you activate Adrenaline Rush, your new Slice and Dice becomes 30% more effective, well, that's becoming a talent directly. Elemental Shaman's main artifact ability, Stormkeeper, which causes your next 3 casts of Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning to be instant and deal 200% increased damage, is becoming a talent where your next 2 Lightning Bolts and Chain Lightnings will be instant, and it triggers an Elemental Overload on every target. Then their artifact traits, Volcanic Inferno. Lava Burst has a chance to open up a volcanic fissure which deals fire damage over 6 seconds to all enemies within 3 yards, likely inspire the new talent called Volcanic Rage, which deals fire damage to all enemies within 8 yards and applies Flame Shock to them. Then Enhancement Shami's Doom Wolf trait, which imbues your feral spirits with fire, frost, or lightning, and giving them an extra ability, is becoming a talent called Elemental Spirits, which, well, does the same thing. Then Affliction Lock's legendary Hood of Eternal Disdain, which makes Agony deal its full damage 10% faster, is being baked into a new talent called Creeping Death, which makes Agony, Corruption, and Unstable Affliction deal their full damage but 15% faster. Arms Warrior's main artifact ability, Warbreaker, which deals damage and applies Colossus Smash to all nearby enemies, is turning into a new talent called Warbreaker, which pretty much does the same thing and replaces Colossus Smash. Then their legendary ring, Ayala's Stoneheart, which allows your attacks to have a chance for you to execute the target regardless of their health and costing no rage. Well, that effect is getting baked into the talent Sudden Death. Your damaging abilities have a chance to make your next execute cost no rage, be usable on any target regardless of health, and deal damage as if you spent 40 range. And that's it. Those are all of the Legion legendaries or artifact abilities that are transitioning into the next expansion. I guess Death Knights got the short end of the stick since there was, well, nothing for them. But this is all subject to change. I mean, BfA is still in alpha, so more things are sure to come. But if you guys like this video, you can leave a like on it, sub to the channel for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.